All right, Sunday skills. Lots to get to, lots to get to. We have a lot to do. We have a lot to cover. We are somewhat behind as well on our goal, right? So who knows? Put it in the Zoom chat. Who knows what we're working on with our mission? What's our goal for the month of July? What are we doing? 200 families helped, right? 200 families helped. Anybody know where we currently stand right now? Anybody? Just me? Close, 99, 92. There's some numbers flowing around, right? So there's a few out there. So right now, last I heard, somewhere around 93, plus or minus. But would we rather push for just 93 and hope we hit it at the last second? Or should we go do like and help like another 150 families and just make sure we actually just blow that goal out of the water? You tell me. What do you think? All right, what should we do? Right? We should go do all of it, guys. And listen, there's 139, 140. It'll probably keep ticking up as we keep going. So think about this. If everybody on the call right now just did one app, one, just one, do you like we would smash that goal like tomorrow? Think about that. Just one app. Even if you went out and just helped one person and it was tiny, who cares? It's one more, right? And then you know what after you know what you do after that? One more. One more. Because guys, who knows what app is actually going to be the one that pushes us over that goal, right? Pushes us across the goal line. So look, just go do one more. Just go do one more, right? So that's what we're looking at right now. And so what are we actually talking about tonight on Sunday Skills? We're talking about like cash value policies, index universal life, those versus term. And the like bread and butter of what we do, what this company was built on, was destroying the cash value life insurance industry, right? So back in the day, so backstory, just so you guys understand, Art Williams's dad died in his early 40s. Somebody had sold Art's dad a cash value life insurance policy for somewhere around 15,000, 10,000, 15,000 in whole life, right? And then when he passed away and his mom didn't really have as much as he should have had, he found out from I think a cousin of his that somebody could have sold his dad a term policy for the same cost and he would have had about $150,000 in life insurance. And when Art founded this company, he said, you know, it made me so mad. I wanted to kill those guys when I found out what my mama could have had. I never forgave him for it. And that's where this company came from, right? And so that's what we're going to focus on tonight is what's still going on out there, right? So cash value life insurance. We call it trash value. It's it's a whole life policy. It's an index universal life policy. It's a variable universal life policy. Infinite banking, right? There's all kinds of buzzwords that go on. So how many of you guys think about it? How many of you guys have seen a TikTok video or pick your social media that talks about being your own bank? Think about it. How many of you guys have seen that? I mean, just be honest in the Zoom chat. Ha- and how many of you guys, when you heard that, you were like, "Well, heck, that makes a lot of sense. I want to be my own bank. I like the idea of that." Right? It sounds great. Well, most used car salesmen make really, really crappy cars sound really, really good when you're about to buy them, right? So we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to expose some of that, and I'm going to show you right in our own like 6-page sales presentation, right? The blue page, right? If you just keep scrolling down a little bit, where it's in there in terms of buy term and invested differences, and I'm going to break that down a little further. I'm going to show you some IUL stuff because IULs are some of the worst, right? And then I'll answer any questions, but I really want you guys to understand tonight why what we do is so important, right? And the ones I'm going to show you are real clients. They're real clients. They're real ones that we've come across. And I'm going to show you how to like just destroy some of this stuff. All right. So first thing first, like let's look at the blue page. Like who knows, who is seen, who uses, right? And there better be like 152 other sites on this call. Who uses the blue page? Like I said, it should be everybody. So give me some love in the Zoom chat. All right. It's Sunday night. I need some help, right? I need some energy. So let me just show you. I'm not making this up. The blue page, right? We explain the company, we explain what we do. Everybody has seen this. How many of you guys knew there was more to the story, right? Like you just keep scrolling down a little bit, right? Debt stacking, right? The other big thing that we do, keep scrolling. Nobody really cares about this. Rule of 72, that's kind of a big one. I like this one a lot. I like this one. And then right here, boom. cash value versus buy term and invest the difference. When we say invest the difference, guys, we're really, really talking about if the client were going to spend the same money, exact same money, right? So take John and Mary, for example, right? John and Mary have a whole life policy each for about 200,000 in coverage. That means, God forbid something happens to John or Mary, the other one is presumably, as the beneficiary, is getting $200,000 in a death benefit. Okay. And so that's, I mean, that's life insurance, right? They have that. And in a whole life policy, the policy is actually building cash value along with that. So the thing Art hated about this is that the big insurance companies were actually selling you two products, right? They're selling you insurance and they're selling you savings. But at the end, you only get one. Kind of gross, right? And I'll draw you a picture here in a little bit to help you understand this more, right? But you're paying for two things, but God forbid the day you die, you only get one. Does that seem fair? First of all, doesn't seem fair at all to me. I want all my things, right? If I'm paying for two things, you best believe that when time comes to collect, I want both, right? Both of them. I want both. So we would take the same money. So John and Mary are spending over 300 bucks a month. Well, look, we're going to double their coverage. We're going to give them a $400,000 term policy for 30 years. And then we're going to take the difference that they were both spending, roughly 200 a month, and we're going to invest it. We're going to put it in a mutual fund, probably tracking a return of somewhere around 9%. And if you read this tiny little word down here, right? 30-year term for John and Mary, right? 30-year Primerica term, standard pricing, class 6 for the hus, right? Class 4 for the wife. Those are standard ratings, right? Just standard policy. Nothing special. We didn't tweak the price to make it like in our favor. It's just a standard issue, right? And then right here, accumulation assumes a 9% nominal rate of return. Okay, well, there you go. Those are pretty standard. Pretty standard. Here's the crazy thing, guys. John and Mary at age 65, under those conditions, would have roughly $400,000, $372,000 in a Roth IRA, which means it's tax-free. Now, God forbid they would have died along the way, right? Let's say John died at 62. Well, guess what? At 62, Mary gets the 400 grand in a death benefit, and she still has all of this, whatever it is. All of it. She gets both, right? Now, obviously, she doesn't want John to die. She wants him to be around. The whole point of the insurance is that just in case, right? Now, here's the really, really gross part. Let's say they never switched, and let's say they were still over here. Now, something happens to John, right? He's 62. He's had this policy for almost 30 years. Let's just say there's $70,000 in cash in this policy of John's in cash value, right? Now, John dies. Does Mary want 200 grand or 70? What do you think? Put in the Zoom chat. Does she want 200 grand or 70 grand? She wants more. She wants 200. Well, if she takes the 200, guys, who's keeping the 70 grand? Who's keeping that 70 grand? Who's keeping the cash value? Does anybody know? Because it ain't Mary. It's the insurance company. It's whoever they have that life insurance policy through. So in that situation, if Mary's losing 70 grand, I mean, she's gaining 200, right? There was a death benefit. I'm not arguing that. But if she's giving up 70 grand, do you think she's really happy at that point? I mean, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be. I want remember both, right? Both. It is all her money, Misty. You're 100% right. But think about it like this. Does anybody know when this life insurance policy, when the cash value would equal the death benefit? How old would the client be when the cash value and the death benefit are equal? Age 100. Think about it, guys. Most people get sold cash value life insurance policies as a savings, right? As a investment tool. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, but if your savings and your investment is only going to be 200 grand when you're 100 years old, Do you think that does that really seem like something that you're able to like invest and pay yourself with? Oh, by the way, here's a fun one. If you need the money, what do you generally have to do with the money that's inside of a cash value policy, right? Can you just take it? I mean, you can, but if you take it, you're generally going to surrender some of your death benefit or some of your life insurance. Most people, what actually happens is you borrow it. You borrow against the policy. And anytime you borrow money from a bank or a financial institution, you have to pay it back with what? Starts with an I, ends with interest. There you go. Interest, right? Now think about it, guys. Most people that actually borrow the money from a policy, do you think that they're able to continue paying their actual life insurance premium plus the amount of the loan back on top of it? No, no. One of the grossest situations and scenarios that I ever like ran into with this was an actual client. She like her ex had convinced her to take out a $500 loan against her life insurance policy so they could pay for some Christmas presents. Hear me on this. They took out a $500 loan and then he told her, "Don't worry about it, just keep paying your monthly. No big deal." 8 years later, do you know how much money she owed on that $500 loan? Take a wild guess. Well, I mean, Justin, you're a little extreme. Drop the two off. It was 3 grand. But think about it. She took a $500 loan, and 8 years later, she had been paying her policy. She just didn't know. She owed she owed $3,000 just because she borrowed her own money. Listen, y'all, that's just wild to me. So please, please, for the love of God, don't ever like if you run across these, this should be the easiest thing ever to destroy. Easiest thing ever, right? And then I'm going to show you like one worse, right? So cash value is pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple, right? You have cash, you have life insurance. You pay for a certain number of years on your cash value life insurance, usually somewhere around age 60, 65, you stop paying depending on how long you've held the policy. And then the death benefit just kind of hangs out, right? And that's where some people start to say, "Oh, well, I'm going to stop paying on this. You have to keep investing forever." And I'm like, well, let's just pretend, right? Let's just pretend at 65 that John and Mary stopped investing and they had 300 and we'll just say $370,000. Stopped investing. Because if this wasn't going to hit 200 grand until they turned age 100, right? Well, let's just play. Let's say at 65 they stopped, right? All the way to age 100, 370,000, one, two, three more zeros. They stopped investing, they quit putting money in, and let's say we put it in something very, very safe. 6% rate of return. That's just a little bit better than a money market, y'all. That's pretty friggin' safe. By the time they were 100, 35 years later, that would have turned into $3 million. And again, like Andy likes to say, no math magician, but would you rather have 3 million or the combined value, assuming both of them made it to 100 and to be 400 grand? 3 million. 3 million. Look, they quit putting money in and it was only a 6% rate of return. Hell, I don't care if you just put the money in a money market account and at 4%, it's still 1.5. You can't argue with me. We can't you can't win if you're the whole life salesman and I'm showing your client this. You can't win. But you know what happens? The whole life salesman never shows them this. They never show them this. So let me just like pull all the nonsense away. When a client applies for a whole life policy, if I'm the insurance company that sells them that policy, right? Right? Justin applies for a 500,000 in a whole life policy, he's going to pay roughly $500 a month. Rule of thumb is 100,000 in whole life costs about 100 a month. There's your like just blanket statement. I'm going to take Justin's $500 and I'm going to take a good chunk of that and I'm going to go buy internally a term policy on him. You with me? I'm going to go buy a cheap term policy on him internally because that's called hedging my risk, right? So now I'm protected as the insurance company because he only gave me 500, right? And so I buy that policy and then I go invest that money because for the first couple of years of Justin's policy, how much cash is actually going to be in that? Anybody know? How much cash would he actually be able to access for the first couple of years of that policy? A big old whopping goose egg. So here's the fun part, guys. Can you borrow something that isn't there, right? Something from nothing remains nothing. And so when people say, "Oh, I got this policy so that I can, borrow against it and blah blah blah," I'm like, "Great. How much cash do you actually have in the policy?" Well, none. Okay. Can you borrow something that isn't there? Well, no. Wait. Okay. So if you got the policy to be able to borrow against the cash value, when are you actually going to have enough money to be able to borrow what you think you need to be able to do anything with it? And they go, "Oh, that sounds like a less than favorable like financial decision." I'm just saying. It'll be years. It'll be years. So let me show you it from an IUL perspective. And so the only saving grace of a cash value life insurance policy is that the price monthly remains the price monthly. That's it, right? Regardless of how bad of an investment or product that it is, at least that price and the cost of the insurance remains the same. When we start talking about indexed universal life policies, there's a period of time where the price of the insurance will remain the same. But usually, somewhere around year 5 or 10, the policy starts to get more and more expensive every year. The insurance inside of the policy becomes annual renewable term, meaning every year the cost of the insurance goes up. But if the client's price that they're paying remains the same, eventually the policy starts to eat itself, meaning in order to keep the policy from lapsing, you're paying 100, but the cost of the insurance is 200. That extra 100 comes out of your cash value that has accumulated because some will, for sure. Which is why every indexed universal life policy will lapse. It says it right in the policy pages, and I'm going to show you where, right? Now, every policy is a little different. And so when it comes to let's do this one first, right? So here's and I've blacked out everything, so don't freak out. Nobody can see anything, right? So let's just break this policy down a little bit. Client had 400,000 in coverage, right? This is as of 2022. He took out the policy in 2016. So this policy, remind you, had been in force 6 years already by the time I saw it. 6 years. You with me on this? 6 years. He was 25. He wasn't rated. He came back preferred plus. Guys, for us, like equivalent, that's like class 2 for a man. Class 2 for men. Stay with me, right? Now, look over here really quick. What's the cost of his insurance? 430 bucks a year. These are annual costs, right? Look at this other one. Other expense charges. Guys, that's not savings. That's not extra. That's just cost. How much is he paying annually? 1320. Okay. Interest index credits. That amount right there annually is what's going into his savings, his cash value. Less than 10% is going into his cash value. He's had this policy for 6 years. 6 years. Look at his average rate of return where it's highlighted in blue. In that period, it was less than 3.5%. For the life of the 6 years that he had been investing the money, it was 5%. Gross. But it's tracking the market. The hell it is. It's tracking the wrong market. If those are your returns, God bless. That's awful, right? So look at this. Ending account value. Ending account value right here. How much cash? How much cash is in his is in his cash value after 6 years? A whopping $2,600. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, how much can you do with that? Nothing. Oh, by the way, if he canceled the policy right now, how much would he have to pay the company to cancel his own policy? Look at the surrender charge. How much would he have to pay to cancel his own friggin' policy? Over double what his actual account value is. That is bananas. All right. Last one, real quick, right here. Look, when will my policy lapse? Y'all, this is like page 2. It's right here. Look, guaranteed. Worst case scenario, 2047. He took it out in 2016. Guys, in in layman's terms, he essentially bought a really expensive 30-year term policy. Am I wrong? Am I wrong or am I wrong? No, hell no, I'm not wrong. I'm right. It says it right there. It says it's going to lapse in 2047. Going to, guaranteed, will lapse, right? Based on current assumptions, this is where they get you. It'll last until 2077. I'm going to show you why it won't. This is so crazy, right? This is so crazy. Watch this. It shows you in the rate table what is going to happen. Look, end of policy year 7, net surrender cash. How long will he have had the policy before he even can cancel it and it has any cash value in it whatsoever? 10 years. 10 years. Are you freaking kidding me? Right? Listen, I like to work in absolutes and with these policies, right? These are the guaranteed values because you could go off of these non-guaranteed alternates and non-guaranteed currents. But if it's not guaranteed, do you think the company is ever going to honor that? It might happen, right? It might happen, but the only thing that we have with certainty is right here. So let's just keep going. Let's just keep going a little bit because I'll even give him the benefit of the doubt with these nonsenses here in a second. But look right here, death benefit, right? Look at this column, death benefit. Look at, oh, wait a minute. Look at the death benefit. The numbers start going down right here. Look, boom, burn, burn. Why would they be going down? Why would they be going down? Because the net surrender cash is going down. Why is the net surrender cash going down? Remember? Because his annual premium hasn't changed. So the amount that he's putting in is staying the same. But remember, the cost of the insurance is going up, right? So the account value starts decreasing and there hits a point where it's never going to start increasing again because it's going to cannibalize itself. It told you up front, when will my policy lapse? It's going to happen, right? It's going to happen. Listen, even if it went on the non-guaranteed, blah, 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 schmackety, schmackety, what's the highest amount that this thing ever reaches? And I know the print, I know it's small, so I'll go biggie size a little bit in here, right? Just look at net cash surrender value because that's the amount, right? What's the highest amount that it ever actually reaches? I think the highest one is somewhere in the 43,000s. It never eclipses 40. It's never over 40 grand. Not once, not never over 40 grand, right? So remember, let's go back and I want to show you, right? Had we just bought term and invested, because I want to use real numbers, homie's 25, he got a preferred plus rating, 400,000 in coverage. Let's just see. Hopefully my thing didn't go away. Look, okay, boom, it stayed. Look, he's 25. Precision term, meaning he got right? Precision term. Look, I'll even give him waiver of premium and let's just see what happens if I take it down to 400,000. It's even cheaper. Well, God bless. Well, look, I'm going to do him a solid, right? For $5, I'm going to give him the extra 100 grand because I don't care. I'm going to win anyway, right? So look, the difference between this policy and what he was doing, he was paying $110 a month. Buy term and invest, same freaking money. 110 monthly billing, right? What's 110 minus 47? 63. I'll save you the time because I already did it ahead of time. Right? So look, he's 25. Let's take him to, what did we say? 60? When is it? Well, heck, even his other one was going to lapse in 30 years, right? So he'd have been 55. Just the $63 a month. Just the $63 a month at around 9%. Guys, what was the highest amount that his policy ever reached? Even on like the non-guaranteed versions, 43K. 43K. And oh, by the way, this is a 35-year term. So it would actually take him to 60. Give him another 70 grand for giggles. Why not? 35-year term, price doesn't change. It's the same. Same freaking money. Same money. Bought term, invested the difference. Same money. Same rating, same age. When homie's done in 35 years, not only does he have life insurance if he still wants it, oh, by the way, because you can't be declined with Primerica life insurance, guaranteed insurable, right? Does not have to prove insurability when he's 60 if he decides he wants it. Look, look, age 60. Look, even on the non-guaranteed version, the best possible scenario for him at 60 is somewhere in the 50,000 some odd range. Look, even at its peak over here in this crazy non-guaranteed, look, it still never gets above 85 grand. And look, that 85 grand, let's come over here. He's in his 70s. 70s, and he's still paying this 1320 annually. He never stopped paying. This is worse than a whole life policy. Worse. Absolutely worse. So listen to me on this one. Guys, in order to be able to understand this, you have to get in the field. You have to run across this stuff. You have to see it. You have to, right? And here's what actually happens with indexed universal life. Your client, right, the other agent, at some point, probably quarterly, maybe semi-annually, is going to call them and they're going to say, Mr. and Mrs. Client, we're just checking in, doing our like semi-annual review. Would you like to start investing more money? What do you think most people are going to say to that? If they have even a little bit of the ability to do it, they're going to do it, right? They're going to say, sure. But guys, here's the gross thing. You can't actually invest more money in an IUL. Does anybody know why? I'm gonna tell you the answer, but does anybody know why? No, there's no cap. There's no cap, Justin. You can't actually invest more money in an IUL because there never was an investment in the first place. You're only buying more life insurance. And your life insurance separate account, sort of like a variable annuity, is tracking an index. That's why it's called indexed universal life. So the way they get you is like, oh, you're going to get market returns. Okay. But if we're not actually invested in anything, there's no dividend. You don't own anything, right? You're you're getting a market return, but the guaranteed rate is still 3%. If my homie was getting a guarantee, if he was getting a market return, then why were his returns only 3% that year? Granted, there's no guarantees in the market. 100%. 100%. There are no guarantees. I fully understand that. But if you are invested appropriately, right? And your dollar cost averaging, even when the market's down, you're getting more shares if you're actually investing. But if you're just invested in some like index, you're not getting anything. There's no such thing as investing. Here's the other gross thing. You don't have to have an investment license to sell an index universal life policy. They're just life insurance agents. And so if you don't need an investment license to sell a quote unquote investment to a client, that seems kind of shady to me. Just saying. Just saying. But the worst thing about this, guys, is that families actually think they're doing the right thing. Jen, you're 100% right. They think they're going to own something in the end. They don't. Because somewhere between page 2 and page 8, in the beginning of that policy, it says, when will my policy lapse? This policy will lapse, and it gives a date. It gives a date, right? It's horrible. It's horrible. And so when it comes to this kind of life insurance, guys, this is the crusade. This is why Primerica was built back in the 70s. This is why the insurance industry tried to run us out of business in the state of Georgia. And the insurance commissioner sent Art in the original 85 subpoenas and had them all in his office because all of the other companies were sending like basically false allegations to the insurance commissioner's office saying that Primerica agents were like replacing cash value policies and keeping the cash value. And Art went in there and showed him everything, and the lawyer showed him everything and said, no, we're not. We're just buying term and investing the difference. We're just doing it differently. But that's the crusade, guys. They set out on a crusade to crush the entire whole life cash value life insurance industry. Did we do it? No. Did we beat Prudential, Northwest Mutual, and a whole bunch of other companies like combined for like 3, 4 years in the 80s? Yeah. Guys, do you realize that? For a span of like 3 or 4 years, it might even be longer, Primerica was number one. We outproduced in life insurance Prudential, Northwest Mutual, and a couple of other companies combined. We weren't just national champs, we smashed the other top 3 or 4 producers combined. Smashed them. Why? Because we had a crusade. We had people that were out there trying to change people's lives. That's what we got to get back to. All these people that get sucked into like infinite banking and all this nonsense, guys. That's it's just gross. They're getting sold a bill of lies. There's like this many percentage of people in the country or in the world even where a cash value policy makes sense. And it's people that are sitting on tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars liquid, I mean cash, that they essentially put into a policy. It's called overfunding a policy. And then they're able to borrow money out of it, use it to go buy cash flowing assets, which pays that thing back. It works in very, very small situations. But for the average person that's looking for life insurance and trying to protect their family, they need the lowest cost option that gives them the most possible return. And when people look at that and they go, oh, well, if I just pay on this thing for 35 years and I'm still alive at the end, don't I just lose all that money? And I say, well, Justin, listen, you weren't supposed to die. You were supposed to live. And then the example, the analogy that I give is like, I mean, Justin, let's be honest. Have you been paying your car insurance for the last 15, 20, 30, 40 years, however long you've been around? What do people usually say? Right? Have you been paying your car insurance? Yeah. Right? Did your car insurance company over the last 5 years that you were not in a car accident, did they ever just like give you a call and pat you on the back and refund all the premium that you paid for your car insurance because
Hi.
you did not have a car accident? No, they didn't, right?
Yeah.
Like, would you expect them to? Would you expect them to? I mean, it'd be nice, but no, nobody asked that question. No, nobody says, well, like, I mean, God, if I don't get in a car accident, what do you get? Do I get a refund? Nobody even thinks about it. Nobody even thinks about it. And on average, let's be honest, on average, what do most people pay on their car insurance every month? 400 bucks, 250, 400, couple grand. Stacy, you're an anomaly girl. Y'all got like 18,000 cars. Don't be giving that number out there. I would say on average, most people are paying somewhere between 250 and 400 bucks a month on their car insurance. Some more, some less, right? And think about it right now. In your situation, if you totaled your car, what do you think is the largest check that your insurance company is going to send you back? What do you think? 15 grand, 20 grand? Maybe. I don't know. So if you don't even blink every month and you stroke a check for like 300 bucks for your car insurance, and the most you're ever going to get back if you total that thing is maybe 20, 30 grand. But you can't stroke a check for like 100 bucks a month to let Primerica send your family a 500,000 if you don't come home from that same car accident? Man, that's wild to me. I don't understand that. I don't even get it. You're right. Wouldn't even pay for the car. Wouldn't even pay for the car. Wouldn't even pay for the car. And Mr. and Mrs. Klein, aren't you more important than that car? Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Like, think about it, guys. Like, people, like, just rationally, people don't understand life insurance. Most people. Most people don't because they've never been educated, right? This life insurance is a product that clients need to be educated. And at the end of the day, it has to be sold because most people don't go seeking it, right? It's not fun to go buy life insurance as is like to go fun like buying a car or buying a house. It's totally different, right? Totally different. But guys, listen, we've got 12 days, right? Because I'm gonna go on a limb and say nobody's putting in a policy tonight. It's almost 9:40. You might. But we got 12 days and we got 93 apps left to do. What I want everyone to focus on over the next 12 days is if you learned something tonight, who do you know right now? Or who in the back of your mind meant, "Oh, man, I I gotta show this to them." I'm pretty sure that they've probably got some of this trash value life insurance. Guys, most people grow up with like a Gerber grow up life insurance and they go, "Oh no, I'm good. I got life insurance. My grandpappy's had it on me since I was knee high to a grasshopper." How many times have I heard that? And I say, "Great, man, I love it." Like, but if your if your grandfather has the policy on you, who's the beneficiary? Probably granddad, first of all. Second of all, how much is that actual coverage? And they go, I don't know. I said, well, most Gerber plans started around 10 grand. And then when you hit a certain age, they double. So maybe 20. God forbid something happens to you right now. One, we don't even know who the beneficiary is. But two, what's 20 grand going to do, even if your spouse is the beneficiary? Cover a funeral? Maybe the dinner? I don't know. Not much. Not a whole lot. Right. Guys, the biggest thing to think about when it comes to life insurance is income protection, income replacement. How many of you guys right now have someone that relies on your income? And be honest, right? How many of you have somebody right now that relies on your income? And here's the other question. If you're a stay-at-home spouse, does your spouse rely on you to take care of the entire household so that they can go out and produce an income? Because that's something that most people don't really think about. And here's the thing. Because I hear this a lot, right? Oh, I just need coverage on me. My spouse just stays home and takes care of the kids. Just stays home and takes care of the kids. Guys, you know the national average study has shown that like financial cost equivalent of a stay-at-home spouse is probably somewhere between 40 and 50 grand a year. If you had to pay for all of the things that a stay-at-home spouse does, I'm talking monthly child care alone is probably close to somewhere between 25 and 30 grand for the year. Just saying, right? So let's just say 30 grand. Let's figure out or let's talk about how much it would cost to have a house cleaner come through every week. I don't know, $100 a week, maybe, right? So that's $400 a month. That's another 5 grand a year. So we're at 35. Think about food prep. Think about transportation for children to and from school. God, y'all, it's just gonna keep racking up. I'm thinking 50, 60 grand, easy, easy that a stay-at-home spouse like protects annually. You cannot tell me that they don't need to be covered because I promise you, if God forbid I had lost my spouse, there's no way I could have kept producing my income. She was important as all get out. She's quite literally, or they are quite literally just as important as the person producing the income, right? You might argue maybe a little less, but God bless. They need to be covered with something. So here's what I do. I cover the male spouse, and then I cover the female spouse with the children on it, because usually the differential between the cost, like the price difference between the male female, is usually about the child rider, plus or minus. So now both policies are about the same, right? And it doesn't look as weird. But if you're only getting one, well, God bless, you better get the one producing that income and you better be protecting those kids. I'm telling you guys, right? You got to be protecting both of them. You got to be protecting both of them. So think about this, guys. Listen, right now we got 12 more days. We need 93 more families protected. If you haven't gotten in front of somebody, right? The easiest thing to do is sit down with your spouse. You and your trainer need to sit down with you and your spouse because if you're on a plane and you see those little oxygen masks falling down, whose are you supposed to put on first, right? Are you supposed to help like the little old dude next to you and the little kids? No, because if you don't put yours on first, you are the most important. You have to put yours on first because if you pass out, you can't help nobody else, right? If you get yours on though, and all these jokers are passed out next to you, and you start putting them on, they're gonna wake back up. You have to look at your own first. And right now, if you get a bonus and a promotion off of doing it, oh, by the way, you'll likely get a game changer IBA to be able to give away. Recruit somebody for free, you're gonna bump a bonus and a promotion automatically. If you're brand new and you have no idea what the heck I'm talking about, text your trainer right now and say, what is Noah talking about? Just say, what is Noah talking about? Game changer, bonus, and promotion. Just off looking at your own. And if it makes sense, well, God bless, you should probably do it, right? Because think about it like this. If you're going to go sit in front of a family or talk to somebody about getting down, like getting with you and sitting down and helping with some training, wouldn't it make sense if you actually knew a little bit about what you were trying to talk to them about? Makes a lot of sense to me, right? Makes a lot of sense to me. So guys, like this is the most important thing you can be doing, right? In the next 2, 3 days, next 48 hours, let's go crush that 93. Let's go crush, like, let's get in front of some families. Let's help some people in the next 48 hours, right? Before we get back together on Tuesday night, because that's the next meeting time, right? Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, that's the next meeting. And what's the most important meeting? Did you like that? It's called Wait for Answer. I was actually thirsty, but it's called Wait for Answer. Yeah, the next one. All of them, Amanda. I love that, right? But the next one, right? The next one's the most important meeting. Because guys, like we've already lost a couple of people, and it's not even 10 o'clock yet. We've already lost a couple of people, but they just weren't the ones. Like the next meeting is the most important. The next meeting is the most important because you have no idea what somebody's going to talk about. How many of you guys learned something tonight that you did not know 44 minutes ago? Should be just about everybody. It should be a lot of people, right? But if everybody learned something, think about that. Some of you guys have been around for a hot minute, right? Justin, you've been around for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, a while. We've talked about this stuff before, but maybe I just said it differently. Yes, Mariah, I am recording this. And if you're really nice, I'll actually give you the link to it in my YouTube. We'll see. But look, plus it's going to live stream. It'll get posted onto the band link for Sunday Night Skills. Yes, it's going to be in multiple places. But guys, listen. This is the time. Like we have to take action. We have to take action. You have to get in front of somebody. There is somebody I promise you that you have not spoken to yet, or somebody that's been saying, "Oh, get back to me over here. Get back to me over here." This is the time. Listen, if there was ever going to be a time for you to like throw a Hail Mary and get in front of somebody, it's right now. Listen, we're trying to hit a huge goal. We're trying to help 200 families this month. We got to help like 90 plus more. And I just need to sit down with you for like 20, 30 minutes. If it makes sense, great. And if not, I'll never bug you again. I would just ask that you send me some referrals if you ever know somebody looking. Is that fair? You guys need me to say that again, or did you catch it? Because that's it. Like that's what it looks like, right? Hey, listen, right? Justin, I know we've been meaning to get together for a while, dude. We're on a mission to hit a huge goal this month. We're actually building an orphanage in India, and we're trying to outfit it with a whole bunch of like backpacks and shoes and everything for the 25 kids that are coming in. I just need like 20, 30 minutes. If you can help me out and it makes sense, great. And if not, I'll never bug you again. I would just love for you to know more about what I'm doing. That way, in case you know somebody down the road that can use what we do, you'd feel comfortable sending me a referral. Is that fair? Awesome. So listen, man, when can we get together? I only need like 30 minutes. Like tomorrow or Tuesday? Monday or Tuesday? Don't just say what's your schedule like? Put a time limit on it, right? Give them a yes or a yes. Tomorrow, like tomorrow or Tuesday. Tomorrow at 4, perfect, right? Most people aren't going to give you just like that, right? Most people say, oh, I don't know, man. Like maybe Tuesday. Say, hey, perfect. Tuesday's perfect for me, right? Do you want to do like afternoon or evening? Like, you want to do like lunchtime while you're still at work? Or you want to wait till you're home? I kind of would like to sit down with you and Melina at the same time. Like, when are you and Melina both usually available? Like evenings after work, probably around 6 or 7. Perfect. And then just as soon as he gives you an answer, book it. Have the calendar up. Book the appointment. If you're using someone else's calendar because you're still in training, make sure you add yourself as a guest. That way you get the Zoom links, you get the email. You better be on your own training appointments. That's how it works. That's how you learn. Oh, by the way, like if you put me on a training appointment with your sister and you don't show up to your own training appointment and we're both kind of like looking around like where'd who go? Right? It gets kind of weird because it's really hard for me to look at your sister and go, oh man, thanks so much for sitting down with Justin for his training. Damn it, Justin's not here. That gets really weird. I'm still gonna run the appointment. I'm probably gonna close it, but it's really gonna be weird, right? Because you were supposed to get training. Be at your own appointments. Guys, it is you have to be professional, right? In a world full of amateurs, you have to be a professional because that's the difference. So many people out there are not. You have to be the one. Be on time, 100%. Be on time to your own appointment. Like it boggles my mind how many people will set an appointment and not show up to their own appointment. It's like, and then not talk and then not communicate. Guys, communication is key. Over communicate. I would rather you over communicate with me and I can like filter and delete a text. Trust me, it's easy. It's but if I'm sitting there wondering like where the heck's this dude at and he's not showing up, like I'm on to the next one. Even if you show up and you're late and you didn't talk to me, I'm probably going to be pretty annoyed, first of all. Second of all, I don't know that you can be able to could be like consistent in the future. Start laying the foundation and the framework now for being a professional and showing people that you can be counted on, right? And relied on. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like, guys. So listen, go get in front of some people ASAP. ASAP. I know there are people that you have not talked to because you're just going like, they don't need me. They're probably all set. Guys, some of the most like profound impact that I have ever had in people's financial lives were people that were all set. I promise you. Biggest one I talked about a couple weeks ago was a guy, like a recruit's dad and mom. They had just gotten life insurance like a year ago prior to her coming into the business. She goes, "Ah, they're all set. They actually just did all this." I said, amazing. Then they know exactly what you're going to be doing and they see a ton of value in it. Don't you see that? If they just did it like a year ago, they're going to see a ton of value in what you're doing and just have them bring the policy to the appointment. Let's use it for training. Let's look at it. Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know that they brought the policy? Dad had no idea what it was. He was paying about 200 bucks a month. He had a whopping $30,000 in coverage on himself, cash value policy. And on the mom, wait for it, $6,700. They're paying $200 a month for the combined coverage of less than 40 grand in coverage. You know what we did? We gave him 250 on him, 250 on her, and covered all of their grandkids on one child rider for the same cost. Now, was that a buy term and invest the difference scenario? No, but it was a buy term and give your client 12x what they were already paying for in terms of coverage. Do you think he cared that it was a term policy? No, because what's the point? It was income replacement and it was the same money. He was already spending it. Oh, by the way, how much cash value was ever actually going to be built into that policy? Like next to nothing, like a whole lot of nothing. So do you think he really cared that all we did was get him way better life insurance? No. He was over the moon, super ecstatic. And then what do you think that recruit saw? One, it works. Two, we get in front of people. And I told her flat out, I said, look, if your dad has a policy that's amazing, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to explain it to him. And if he doesn't need anything, I'm not going to like sell him anything. If I look at it and I say he's all set, he's all set. Is that fair? She said, well, yeah, but don't we want to close? I said, of course we do. The Pope wear a white hat? Yeah, we want to close, right? But if he doesn't need anything, he's all set. Now, hear my heart on this, right? If somebody's life insurance doesn't say Primerica on it, I would argue it's probably a little broken. It's got room for improvement. It's got room for improvement. But I've sat with plenty of people that had great term policy, had a great price on it, lasted a real long time. Kind of didn't make sense to try to replace it. You know what happens when you sit down with a client like that? You build a lot of trust. You build a lot of trust. Say, hey, I could give you something else, or I could show you why maybe you would want something supplemental with us just because of the end of term options versus what you have currently. But in reality, you're kind of all set, man. Let's look at your investments. Let's look at the other side of things. Let's make sure you're not going to outlive your money. Sound good? I've had people get defensive. They're like, "Well, you're not going to sell me anything." So no, like I said, like if you we can talk about it, but I don't think you need anything. That's the biggest thing, right? Like fill a need. Fill a need. Well, listen, guys, listen. 93, 12 days, right? 12 days. That means we got to average about 8 a day minimum as an entire team. 8 a day minimum as an entire team. I don't want to do 8 a day. I want to do 80 tomorrow. You hear me? Like that's what we need to go do. We need to go do 80 tomorrow. There's still 167. We lost three more. We're dropping like flies. God bless. Right? 167. Like if half of us did one tomorrow, we're basically done. Just one. Can we count on you guys to go do one? Just one. Can we count on you to do one? I think we can, right? I think we can. And if everybody just does a little bit, think about it. If coach calls a play on the football field, but we're all running in different directions, can we score a touchdown? No. If we did, it'd be a freaking miracle, right? But if we're all moving in the same direction, we're all moving in unison, and we're all running the same play, we're going to score and we're going to win. So that's what it's going to look like. That's what it's going to look like. One more, right? If you did your one, don't quit. Go do one more. Because if you're not licensed yet, what's it going to do? It's going to jack up your bonus. If you are licensed, what's it going to do? It's going to increase your cash flow. Come on, right? One more, one more, one more. Everybody's got one more, right? And if you've already closed a bunch of premium this month, congratulations. Go do one. Go do one more. Guys, that's the mantra for the rest of the month. One more. It's the power of one. Mercedes, you're absolutely right. One more, one more, one more, one more time, one more recruit, one more policy, one more family helped, one more kid with a backpack, right? Don't forget what we're actually doing, guys. The whole point of this is to make sure that we can bless that angel house, the red line angel house. We built it. Last year, we built it. Right now, it's going to be done probably next month. We want to make sure that when those kids come in, they have everything that they need and more. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. All right, guys, we're out. We're done. We're 5 minutes early. So go do one more. Go do one more. Text your trainer, text your coach, whoever you're sitting there working with, going, hey, what was Noah talking about? What's one more, right? What's looking at my own? What is this if you're brand new, right? And we'll get you on the appointment, like we'll get you on the calendar, we'll walk you through everything. If you learned something tonight, you're welcome. That's why you don't miss meetings. Go do me a favor, go put it in all the chats. One more, and then let's move the needle tomorrow. All right, guys? Get out of here. Have a great night. Love y'all. I'll get the recording out. It'll be on the band, and then I'll have the link personally as well. All right. Good night, guys. Bye.